wish I could do that. Not really. It's not an easy thing to do. I have tried, and it's my results have not been nearly as good as Leigh's. So.
Well, it's the true test of manhood. I think most of our presidents should have to be able to yodel. It's like that in Switzerland. Well, we grew up on a dairy farm in northern New York State, way up along the Canadian border. It was kind of late settled. Our family cleared the land up there. Our great-great-grandfather was a Civil War veteran. He got some land in '64. He cleared enough to make a house, then a barn and have some cattle. Back then, you didn't need a lot of land to have a few cattle to support your family, but the farm grew. My great-grandfather bought property, and my grandfather did, and by the time my dad became a farmer and realized that the growing season was extremely short, about 6 days, the land wouldn't support the kind of crops you needed, and other parts of the world had much more soil that would allow you to grow better crops, better feed for better milk, and longer summers. It's hard to compete with that, and so farms like that up our way have sort of disappeared, and little farms have sort of disappeared all over the country. And I noticed that when we travel around, and I wrote a song about it. It's called "In the Ground." I'm going to send this out to Carl. In the ground, not many years ago, a belly full they'd grow in the ground. In the ground, as long as they were able, they're playing for the table in the ground. In the ground, like their parents did before, blood and sweat they poured in the ground. In the ground that they held to as their own, worked and made a home in the ground. In ground like no other, help from nature's mother, fed this country, cities, and its towns. But in long, slow surrender, profits getting slender, family farm now often can be found. Beneath what some call progress in the ground. Well, they lived a straight line. They've been running out of time in the ground. In the ground, that dream will be gone, and it seems so damn wrong in the ground. In ground like no other, with help from nature's mother, fed this country, cities, and its towns. But in long, slow surrender, pockets getting slender, family farm now often can be found. Beneath what some call progress in the ground. casket we lower in the ground. In the ground. Watch my hero go home, and I cry o'er his bones in the ground. In the ground like no other, held from nature's mother, fed this country, cities, and its towns. But in long, slow surrender, profits getting slender, the family farm now often can be found. Need some call progress in the ground. Take a couple minutes, if I could, to introduce everybody up here. A lot of you have seen this before, but it's just downright rude if I don't introduce these fellas up here. Over there on the fiddle, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. He's been with us a dozen years. We're proud to have him with us again today. Please make welcome Clayton Campbell on the fiddle. And from Bowling Green, Kentucky, he's been with us about 4, and he's just an absolutely monster on his instrument, and a good guy to have in the Gibson brothers. Proud to have him. That's Jesse Brock. And back there on the big upright bass is a fellow that just celebrated, I guess, last month, his 24th year playing music with us as a part of the Gibson brothers. 24 years is a long time. More than half his life he's wasted with us. He's a great musician and a good friend from Jericho, New York. That's Mike Barber on the bass. I'm going to ask Eric to come up here and sing a great tune by Jim and Jesse, one of the first brother acts we ever heard. At our core, we're a brother duet, I guess, and when we sing is 2 pieces. But this is actually a trio, because that's the way Jim and Jesse cut it too. They were a brother duet, but once in a while they'd turn to one of their other guys to have them sing a third part. So we turned to Jesse Brock and asked him to sing a little baritone on the great number, Sweet Little Miss Blue Eyes.
Well, little Miss Blue Eyes looks so good. I'm gonna bring her to the neighborhood. I'm gonna make every girl in town jealous that she's around. And I'm walking the line, 'cause I'm glad that she's mine. I'm living in paradise. I know I can't go wrong by stringing along with sweet little Miss Blue Eyes. Taking care of my heart, she makes me realize, and it's lucky for me, 'cause I really wanna be with sweet little Miss Blue Eyes. That little Miss Blue Eyes looks so good. I'm gonna bring her to the neighborhood. I'm gonna make every girl in town jealous that she's around. I'm walking that line, 'cause I'm glad that she's mine. Old Jim and Jesse.
Your turn. You're taking turns. We never took turns as kids. You always got to go. He was the older one, you know. I remember 4th of July, 1976. You guys know where we're from, right? Ellenberg Depot? You never heard of it. Well, if you go north and west, you probably heard of Churubusco, New York. The good folks at Churubusco. Years ago, they're the highest point on the Rutland Railroad, and they had the privilege of naming their own town. The town popped up. It was only about 5 miles west of our farm. So the Gibsons were there when this town was formed, so they wanted to name it. And the vote went, there were two choices. There was Summit, because it was the tallest point in the Rutland Railroad, or they could name it after the other option, Churubusco. What do you think the good folks chose? They chose Churubusco. It is longer. It sounds like a bigger town, I guess. So, named after the Mexican-American War, I guess. Anyway, so there was a fireworks show up there. I remember that, 1976, and Dad put us on the hood of the Chrysler. It was a big deal. We would have been 4 and 5 or 5. Yeah, we're 4 and 5, not quite 5 and 6. And we're watching it as it gets dark, and the fireworks started. This little itty-bitty town. It seemed huge to us, but massively big, huge blue fireworks were going off, and little bitty red ones over here were going off. And Eric said, he marked his territory. He said, "Those blue ones are mine. The red ones are yours." I was disheartened. All right, so I'm watching my red ones, just, you know, it looks like bubblegum popping. And then everything changed, and it went, big red ones. He said, "The red ones are mine, the red ones are mine." Nothing has changed. 40 years later, nothing's changed. I didn't pick a song yet. Any requests? Heard Ring the Bell. By the way, that's not my song. This is a great tune written by Chet O'Keefe, and we named a record after it about 8 years ago, I guess. We still get requests for that song just about it. We don't do it, someone yells it out by the end of the night. Ring that bell. And Eric does a passable job on this as a singer even. So I shouldn't say that because he's nominated for Male Vocalist of the Year this year.
He just mentioned that so that I would say that he's nominated for Male Vocalist of the Year.
Oh shucks, yeah, I am.
Yeah. That's the only reason he mentioned it.
I think it's the first time two brothers have been nominated to...
It's the first time the two brothers will lose, too.
Yeah. Well, I voted for me anyway. Here we go, ring the bell. One.
Gone, and the road ran to a little town on the hillside where the word of the Lord lives on. Ring the bell, 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 both far and wide. You can hear it on the mountain and down across the valley. Ring the bell and go to his side. Children dancing there with flowers in their hair, and the streets are lit with candlelight. Ring the bell, 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 both far and wide. You can hear it on the mountain and down across the valley. Ring the bell and go to his side. preacher and the barber and the teacher all held hands, and the mood is warm. Those holy words are sung not spoken, of a circle unbroken, and the spirit moved in evermore. Ring the bell, 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 both far and wide. You can hear it on the mountain and down across the valley. Ring the bell and go to his side. In the middle of that street, I fell down hard on my knees to the pavement that shone like gold, with a shiver